In an effort not to be clickbaity, which I've been accused of before, and in an effort to point out that Disney is in yet another lawsuit that is terrible for optics, all I want to say is, how old do you got to be to know better than to fire an employee for no reason at all, especially when it's a 73-year-old employee who, well, it is being fired by another 73-year-old employee? This is insane. And if you don't believe me, let's get into it. Disney is a long and storied company, to be sure. I mean, obviously, 101-year-old Disney is accused of age discrimination, even though they're that old, and retaliation in firing a 73-year-old business analyst. And that lawsuit is going to be costly because, it's 20 deep worth of accusations for good reason. And look, add this to the growing stack of dismal Disney lawsuits, because that's the playlist that you're probably looking at right now, which is insanity to me. And as we scroll through, we can see that the optics, according to Dominic Patton, are pretty lousy. A 73-year-old man cans a nearly 20-year employee as she hits 73, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And they attempted to call this a retirement, according to this article, which is terrible. Yet, according to a longtime former Disney analyst, or business analyst anyway, Deborah Violante, that is exactly what happened to her at the Bob Iger-led Mouse House last year. So this isn't something a long time ago. It was recent. After apparently repeated efforts to get an explanation from her managers and Disney HR, and even getting offered a job back at the company at a similar position to what she held from 2005 to 2023, Violante is taking Disney to court in a 20-claim wrongful termination, discrimination, and retaliation lawsuit. And if you want to read it, well, all you have to do is navigate to this Deadline article that's here and click on the blue link that says read it here. Pretty simple. So, as you would expect from a business analyst, oh boy, fastidiousness, Violante has the receipts, which means, well, she'd be great on YouTube. Violante was approximately 55 years old when she first became an employee of Disney. Violante was approximately 55 years old when she first became employed by Disney, reads the July 23rd filing in Los Angeles Superior Court, which is the place you want to go if you mean business. Violante had been doing contractor work for Disney since 2002, when she was brought into the Magic Kingdom full time. Well, technically it's Burbank, but whatever. Thereafter, she remained employed by Disney for 18 years. The jury trial seeking complaint, yikes, seeks a variety of damages and injunctive relief. As Violante got older, she became subjected to a campaign of discrimination and harassment based on her age. The 34-page document from employment law specialist Yadigar Minafar and Soleimani goes on to claim. Then, after Violante became injured and needed to take time off, Disney expedited its plans to terminate her and used the pretext of mass layoff to terminate Violante from the company based on her age and disability. When Violante was 73, Disney boldly and illegally unilaterally retired Violante from the company, even though she had never asked to retire and never authorized anyone to retire her. Wow, it's a good thing she's not in Canada. It's a pretty good joke. especially having been a much rewarded employee expecting voluntary retirement at some point down the line. Violante details in her legal action how things started to spoil after she was one of the last members of her department brought back from the company's furlough in 2020. Besides being denied overtime, even as she put in lots of extra time to catch up on the backlog from the furlough, Violante says she was blunted and delayed over and over in her need to use some of her vacation time to get much needed knee surgery, which I will tell you, you supposedly are supposed to have like access to easy care and remedy of time from the Disney company. So after Violante lost that banked vacation time because of the refusal to grant Violante any time off, the whole thing blew up. Her colleague, Robert Jeff Downs, who would be addled with most of the plaintiff's duties if she was to be out of the Burbank offices, lashed out in late spring of 2023 with, "When are you going to retire?" Wow. That doesn't help Disney's case. This comment was clearly age-related and also evidenced in animus towards Violante's medical needs and limitations. The filing says of Downs and the then 100-year-old company, Disney's mistreatment of and animus towards Violante was so brazen as to be observed by other cast members, causing one of them to confide in Violante that it appears Disney wants her to quit or retire. My goodness. Of course, things go from bad to worse at the parent company of the happiest place on earth when Violante suddenly was pink-slipped on May 22nd of 2023 with so many others. That firing or layoff was part of a recently reinstated multi-phased cut of 7,000 staffers as part of Iger's overall $5.5 billion in cost savings plan to pump up Disney stock. Obviously not wanting to deal with somebody like Perlmutter and Peltz, which would have happened anyway. Now, learning that she was the only member of her department to be let go, Violante pushed back in the few weeks she had left on the job. Disney seemed to ignore her and actually was treating her exit as a retirement until the words age discrimination joined the conversation. Now Disney pushed back Violante's exit date and acknowledged in static bureaucratic jargon in September of 2023 that it was an involuntary separation due to reduction in force. Around the same time, the increasingly fragile Violante's physicians placed her on disability leave until October 8th of 2023. Oof. However, like the most recent phase of the MCU, Violante's filing reads like she and Disney existed in two separate and very different timelines. Wow. Disney's conclusions about the reasons for her termination were strange for several reasons. First, despite Violante's informing Disney that she had suffered numerous hurtful comments and innuendo regarding her age, questioning when am I going to retire, no one at Disney ever asked her about the comments or the identity of the person who had made them. So how could Disney truly reach the conclusion that the reason for termination was not discriminatory? And this goes on. This goes on and on in not the best possible way for Disney, which seems to be the way most of these lawsuits these days are going. They seem to be rather compromised in various different ways, which is why I'm oft fond of calling them Dismal Disney now. But on October 31 of 2023, Violante requested again that Disney provide an explanation for her termination or otherwise address her concerns of discrimination and retaliation. Of course, Disney failed to provide any explanation. To this day, it remains unclear what metrics Disney used to evaluate her performance, especially given that prior to this, no one had notified Violante of any performance deficiencies. On November 13th of 2023, this only gets worse. I can't believe this. Violante received an email from Disney congratulating her on her retirement. And I don't think you can get any funnier than that. The headline, which is where we're getting this article from, reached out for comment, and they hadn't responded at the time of publish, but they'll post it if they, they'll update it if it gets posted in any way. And it looks like Geiger is going to stick around to 75, so it must not be age. Anyway, regardless of the sentiment around all of this, we could probably agree that Disney has another terrible case on their hands that they're probably going to lose, deservedly so. Once again, because this was fumbled by the very people who can't figure out what bathroom other people should use. Anyway, that's it for my thoughts. I have nothing more to add. What do you think? Do you think that this is a particularly good look for Disney? Do you think that they are, well, maybe a little bit out of their mind at this point? I sure do. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments section below. And as always, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, and until next time, see ya.